Welcome back. This is Marc Rudov, branding advisor to CEOs and author of 3 books on branding for CEOs, plus my latest, Duped Again, Why Sophistry Works. Last night's debate was full of lies, and that's why I want you to read Duped Again, which you can get at dupedagain.com. ABC's meddlers, David Muir and Lindsay Davis, tried to moderate this debate, but it really wasn't a debate. It was a stage performance. And they were ganging up on Donald Trump on Kamala Harris's behalf. I want to focus on the biggest lie. That's why I'm entitling this Kamala Harris's biggest debate lie, because she came right out of the gate with a big lie. First, let's play it.
I want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their number one issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid.
You notice she never answered the question, are people better off now than they were 4 years ago? She can't answer that question. She shouldn't answer that question because she knows it isn't true, and she would have to tell yet another lie. That's why she skipped it, and she knew that she had to skip it.
And I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children. My passion, one of them, is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to startup small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year, because of his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
So she said she grew up in a middle-class family. That was her biggest lie. And in my opinion, when you start your life story with a lie, everything else after it is also a lie. She did not grow up in a middle-class family. She grew up in Westmount, Montreal, the richest section of Montreal and all of Canada. And you heard her say that she had a second mother, aka a nanny. Middle-class families don't have nannies. Her mother was a PhD cancer researcher, and her father was a PhD left-wing economist at Stanford University. She did not grow up in a middle-class family. And she said because she had a nanny, she has this fondness and expertise in small businesses. What a bunch of garbage. She also said that she's going to lift up middle-class families. Well, she's been in the White House over 3.5 years now. She's done the opposite. Why would she start now? Well, she wouldn't start now because she's a left-winger. Her answer to everything, as you could hear, is more and more big government. Handouts, 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 handouts. That's all she knows. She has never received a paycheck in her life that did not come from the government. Do you remember when she would tell the McDonald's lie that she worked at McDonald's? Then people started doing research. She never worked at McDonald's. Another lie. She's been at Joe Biden's side for all this time. The border is a mess. And because we have probably 20 million illegals floating around the country committing crimes and taking other people's jobs, the economy is a mess. Remember when they reported all the jobs they created, and then the Department of Labor had 818,000 jobs weren't created? Another lie. It's lie after lie after lie. But then she told some other whoppers. Here's a short list. Well, I already talked about lifting up the middle class. If you want to lift up the middle class, what you do is you get government out of the way. You lower taxes and you get rid of regulations. And you don't mandate things like electric vehicles. You don't do that. Trump had a great economy because he was eliminating regulations and he had lowered taxes. Now she wants to raise them. She doesn't even know what she's talking about, but it sounds good to people who are as dumb as she is. Project 2025. She repeatedly tries to hang that on Donald Trump. This past weekend, she paid airplanes to fly over college football games with big banners saying Trump is behind Project 2025. It's a lie. But she keeps saying it because a lot of people who don't know any better believe it. The Charlottesville lie. Biden repeats it, she repeats it. Everybody knows it's a lie. It's a lie, but she keeps repeating it. She was holed up in a hotel in Pittsburgh, my hometown, for 5 days with a Lee Strasberg trained acting coach, learning how to gesture, how to smirk, how to memorize lies and spew them out with a smirk on her face. Trump was out at the same time meeting with voters, doing TV interviews. She's never done a TV interview except for that one silly one on CNN. Gun confiscation. Oh, Tim Walz and I own guns. We're not going to confiscate guns, and you know that, Donald Trump. No, she's on record as saying she will do exactly that. IVF. She says Trump is against IVF. How can you go against all these families who want to have children? Oh my God. Trump is for IVF and has said so from the get-go. Another lie. And then, of course, abortion. Lindsey Davis interrupted Trump last night and said that no state allows a baby to be killed after it's born. That isn't true. In this country, 7 states, including Minnesota and Washington, D.C., have no restrictions on abortion. And there's evidence that aborted babies were born in Minnesota and allowed to die. So Lindsey Davis had no business interrupting Trump, and especially with lies. David Muir and Lindsey Davis were not moderators, they were meddlers. And this was not a debate, it was a staged performance, and it was an attempt to sink Donald Trump. That's not what a debate is. You notice she won't do one on Newsmax or Fox News. She will not do that because she doesn't want to tell the truth. She doesn't want moderators who are going to really question her. So that's really the long and short of it. Again, when you begin your life story with a lie, I was born in a middle-class family, everything else that you say afterwards is also a lie. You can't vote for this woman because she doesn't know what she's doing. She has no experience doing anything except rising to the top on DEI. Let that sink in. This is Marc Rudov. Until next time.